What's going on, guys? The Wonder Man series debuted on Disney Plus and dropped all episodes all at once. The series follows an actor named Simon Williams who really wants to get a role in the new remake of the Wonder Man film, right in the midst of Hollywood experiencing superhero fatigue. He befriends Trevor Slattery, who helps him get the role of a lifetime. Let's take a look. Episode 1 starts with a young Simon at the movies with his father watching the original Wonder Man film. Now, in present day, he's an actor in Hollywood. We see Simon reading a script as he prepares to film scenes for an episode of American Horror Story. He arrives on set and starts to work through a scene with his co-star Ashley Greene, who we know from Twilight. But Simon keeps offering changes that he made to the scene, basically changing the whole thing around. The director is accommodating at first, but quickly grows tired of it, and ultimately, they get fed up with him and cut his character from the show. After that, he goes back home to find that his girlfriend Vivian was sneakily trying to move out while he was gone. They've been having some issues as of late. Later that night, Simon goes to the movies where he runs into Trevor Slattery, and they bond over both being actors. Trevor tells him that he's auditioning for the new Wonder Man remake and Simon wants to be part of it, being a huge fan of the character. When his agent doesn't help him get the audition, he poses as her to secure a spot and then races over to the studio. At the audition, Trevor finds Simon and helps him get into character. But after the audition's over, we learn that Trevor has been tasked by someone to shadow Simon because he has superpowers, and whoever Trevor is working for deems him dangerous. In episode 2, we learn that the Department of Damage Control threatens to put Trevor back in prison for his betrayal of the Mandarin, saying that he never finished his sentence. Unless he helps bring them Simon Williams, believing him to be a threat. And Trevor finally agrees. Meanwhile, Simon's agent calls and tells him that she's pissed that he went behind her back, but that he also pretty much got the role. He just needs to film an audition for another project to further show the casting director for Wonder Man his range. As he's doing that, Simon starts thinking about Vivian and his emotions cause his powers to emerge and he nearly destroys his apartment. As that's going on, Trevor's meeting with the DODC agent, who wants him to put a device on Simon's computer. When they meet, Simon wants Trevor to go with him to a self-tape studio to film an audition tape for the other project, so they never end up going to his apartment. But when too much noise in the area prevents them from filming, they end up going to Trevor's friend's house, Joe Pantoliano, who just turns out to be a douchebag. After that, they go back to Simon's apartment anyway. After filming, Simon walks away for a minute and Trevor puts the device on his computer. And just then, he discovers the damage that Simon had done previously. In episode 3, it's revealed that when he was a kid, Simon was inside his house when a fire started, but he got no injuries from it. And this is speculating that something about the fire gave him his powers. Back in present day, the DODC agent wants to pin a recent fire on Simon, but Trevor starts to feel bad about screwing him over and is having second thoughts. Later on, Simon goes to Pacoima for his mother's birthday, and Trevor tags along, still unsure about helping the DODC. At the party, we're introduced to Simon's older brother Eric, who immediately recognizes Trevor as the Mandarin. Then they talk a little bit more about the fire that happened all those years ago. Once all the guests arrive, Trevor starts to grill them about Simon's past, trying to dig up any information he can for the DODC. Meanwhile, Eric questions Trevor's intentions at the party. Afterward, Eric lays into Simon and belittles him for pretty much not amounting to much and having no expectations. Simon's powers emerge yet again, and he accidentally destroys the kitchen island. As they're heading back home, Simon feels like Eric might be right about him, and he's down in the dumps. He says that if Hollywood ever found out about his powers, he'd never work again, just like a guy named Damar Doorman Davis. After bonding with Simon and his mom, Trevor decides to destroy a wire that he's been wearing, not wanting to help the DODC anymore, even if it means him going back to jail. And just then, Simon's agent calls and tells him that he and Trevor both got callbacks for the Wonder Man movie. Episode 4 starts off at a club where we meet Damar Doorman Davis. After the club closes for the night, he takes trash to an alley out back where he finds a strange black goo leaking from a nearby dumpster. The goo turns out to be zero matter, a dark energy that transports him to an alternate reality full of multiple doors when he touches it. When Damar returns, he finds himself in his apartment, and he now has superpowers, which allow objects to pass through his body and end up elsewhere. Basically, his body's now a portal, and he can phase through objects. The next night, the club is packed and Josh Gad makes an appearance to do a performance inside. All of a sudden, a malfunction causes a huge fire to occur and people are trapped inside due to the door being stuck. Damar pushes on the door, but it won't budge. But this is probably due to the fact that all the people on the other side of the door are pushing in, as Damar is pushing out. They're basically pushing against each other. Clearly, none of them know how to open a door. Anyway, Damar gets inside and asks everyone just to pass through him to escape. As weird as it sounds, they're a bit reluctant to do so. But after Josh Gad does it, they all go through Damar and they get to safety. After that, Josh employs him as his assistant, and he comes to be known as Doorman. Then Josh persuades him to become an actor, and after that, Doorman becomes extremely famous. We see a montage of him being in various TV shows and even being a TV judge, with his new catchphrase, Ding Dong. But soon enough, people are getting tired of seeing him, so that's not good. Following that, he gets a huge role in a follow-up to a big movie he once starred in alongside Josh Gad called Cash Grab. While filming the second movie, he and Josh do a bit where Josh dives through his stomach, something that they've become known for. But this time, Damar gets sick and Josh doesn't reappear on the other side of the wall like he normally would. After months of Josh not being found, the DODC stated Doorman would be monitored for the rest of his life, and that because of what happened, superheroes would be banned from being involved in any films going forward. In episode 5, Trevor's out celebrating with Simon and he's been dodging the DODC's calls. All of a sudden, they're greeted by a guy who Trevor owes money to. They're taken out back to an alley and the guy's about to shoot Trevor when Simon just beats the hell out of everyone and saves him. Then they look over and notice a kid filming the whole thing and they go after him in Simon's car. They chase the kid, Jaden, into a nearby club and he blackmails him into helping retrieve his stolen bike from his former friend Esteban in exchange for deleting the footage. So Simon and Trevor go to Esteban's house only to find out that it was Esteban's bike all along. Meanwhile, outside, the guy from the alley returns and takes Jaden hostage. Trevor gets the GoPro back and deletes the footage just as the police arrive outside. Jaden joins up with the others as an intense shootout occurs, during which Simon and Trevor sneak out and head to the callback for the Wonder Man movie. Episode 6 starts off with Trevor auditioning for the role of the Mandarin back in Iron Man 3. We then go back to Simon and Trevor driving to the callback. When they get to the director, Von Kovek's mansion, the stress of the audition is finally getting to him. Once inside, they learn that there are other people there to audition as well. Eventually, Von Kovek comes to get them and shows off a giant idea board that he constructed for the movie. And I'm pretty sure it has Dr. Manhattan on it. Anyway, as some of the actors are reading, Von Kovek isn't happy and suddenly tells them to forget the script and just start ad-libbing, which freaks Simon out even more. After that, there's a funny scene where he makes everyone pair up and act out a scene where they're a fighting married couple. It's pretty hilarious. But Von Kovek's not impressed, so they try another exercise. Another one of the actors is tasked with belittling Simon in a scene. But things get real pretty quickly and Simon loses his temper, punching a hole through the guy's head. But that part just turns out to be a dream. Anyway, Simon and Trevor read a scene of Wonder Man for Von Kovek, and he loves it so much that he cast them both in the movie right there. But their victory is short-lived as Trevor gets picked up by the DODC and is threatened with jail again, if he doesn't deliver evidence against Simon. In episode 7, we go back in time to the day Simon and his father go see the original Wonder Man movie. He lets Simon skip school to see his favorite hero. Back in present day, Simon and Trevor are on the set of the Wonder Man movie, getting fitted for their costumes. As they do, Simon starts to put his own spin on the script, just like he did with American Horror Story. But, unlike before, Von Kovek actually embraces it. After that, they go to dinner with Simon's agent and her company, who tell them that a woman named Kathy from the New York Times wants to do a story on them. Simon hears that Kathy has a reputation for slandering actors and making them look bad, so he tries to be on his best behavior around her. But he comes off as really fake in the process. After finding out that Kathy already spoke to Vivian for her article, Simon goes to meet with her to catch up. She tells him that she knew all along that he had powers, but she would never tell anybody about it. Even he was surprised she knew, because he never directly told her. Just when he feels more at ease with the article, his mom tells him that both her and Eric spoke to Kathy as well, so that's not good. But when they meet back up with Kathy, instead of going after Simon, Kathy grills Trevor about working with the DODC instead. He ends up getting exposed and has to come clean to Simon, who feels extremely betrayed and ends up destroying the entire studio with an emotional outburst. In the finale, hearing about the explosion, the DODC go after Simon, who has fled the scene. The next day, the incident is all over the news and a manhunt is in effect for the suspect. But, at this point, no one knows it was Simon directly, except for Trevor. We see the DODC racing to Simon's apartment to apprehend him, but just then he gets a call from Trevor, who tells him that he's really sorry for spying on him and that now he's doing the right thing. It's here that we learn that Trevor took responsibility for the explosion and the DODC ends up coming for him instead. Simon turns on the news just in time to see that Trevor has filmed the new Mandarin video and took credit for the explosion as another one of his terrorist attacks, just to cover up Simon's involvement. When the DODC picks Trevor up, he doesn't break character as the Mandarin, even though the agent truly knows he's just covering for Simon. Despite everything that just happened, Von Kovac still wants to continue filming, and Simon has to go to set. Once there, we finally get the Wonder Man suit reveal, complete with the same glasses worn by the original Wonder Man. Then, we time jump to the film being in theaters sometime later, where it's shown that Joe Pantoliano has replaced Trevor as Wonder Man's sidekick, Barnaby. Afterward, Simon has become a huge celebrity. Von Kovac tells him that he may want to do a sequel, and then Eric finally makes peace with Simon and congratulates him. Sometime later, Simon's in a bar shadowing a guy named Chuck Eastman for a new role. But as it turns out, this was all just a ploy to gain access into the DODC to free Trevor, because Chuck does security there. Once inside, he finds Trevor and shows off his new ability to fly as they both escape. The end. Wow, what a series. They said this would be an homage to acting, and it truly was. It showcased what it was like to be a Hollywood actor. And not only that, but Yahya Abdul-Mateen was awesome as Simon Williams. It was almost like a movie within a movie. And how about Sir Ben Kingsley back as Trevor Slattery? The way he did the Mandarin thing again was pretty cool. They made the DODC seem like assholes. I mean, technically, they were. But anyway, it was an awesome series overall. Hopefully we'll get to see Simon back in one of the Avengers films. And that was Wonder Man, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.